Was there any death more satisfying in Game of Thrones than the twisted King Joffrey Baratheon? I'll say the competition is stiff. Westeros is pretty much like a gladiatorial arena of shocking demises, each one trying to outdo the last. But Joffrey, his death was like the Super Bowl of comeuppances. Before we dive into the dirty details, let's unpack a little why that moment hit the viewership like a justice-laden freight train. Joffrey wasn't just a villain. He was the kind that existed in a league of his own. A special blend of cowardly, sadistic, and petulant, with the kind of smug smirk you'd love to wipe off with a sandpaper glove. We'd seen him commit atrocities without a shred of remorse. So when he started choking at his own wedding feast, every slice of pigeon pie tasted a little sweeter. The satisfying end of a king. But was it the most satisfying death? For me, positioning in Portland, Oregon, where folks aren't strangers to a deep appreciation for poetic justice, it's a close call. Let's face it, Ramsay Bolton's death gave Joffrey's a run for its money. Remember Ramsay? The guy who made Theon Greyjoy's life a living hell and fed his stepmother and brother to his dogs. Yeah, that creep. Watching Sansa Stark walk away from his dog kennel with that faint smile, as the sounds of his own hounds turning against him rose in the background. That was satisfaction dipped in irony and served cold. The fated fall of the Freys. And then, there's Walder Frey, the architect of the Red Wedding, which, if you're like me, left you staring at the screen with a mix of disbelief and angst. When Arya Stark baked his sons into a pie and then gave him a taste of Frey pie, revealing her identity just as he realized his fate, it was a clear reminder. The North remembers. The conclusion of the Queen. We also can't forget Cersei Lannister. Though her death, trapped with her brother-lover Jaime in the crypts of King's Landing as the Red Keep crumbled, was more tragic than satisfying for some, it was essentially poetic. A death that was as complicated and messy as her life had been. The spoils of vengeance. For others, it's Littlefinger's execution that tops the satisfaction charts. The master of manipulation, who thrived on chaos, meeting his end in the stark light of the Stark sisters' newfound unity. It was a stark reminder, pun intended, that even the slyest of foxes can be outfoxed. Choose your own death ultimately. Which death reigns supreme in the satisfaction column is deeply personal. You could argue all day about who deserved it most, but Martin's world is gray and every character has shades of darkness. Me, sitting here in Portland, with the rain peppering the window panes and a warm cup of coffee in hand, I'd hedge my bets on Joffrey's demise. Why? Because it was one of the first major villain deaths that proved in the most magnificent and dramatic fashion that even kings aren't safe in the Game of Thrones. And that set a precedent that carried us through the series, gripping us firmly by the throat until the very end.